Hello, thank you for watching. This is, I have coined The Taming of the Jew. I thought I was clever in coming up with this title, but apparently this year, a few months ago, another author had written a book titled The Taming of the Jew, but my pun is intended to combine both the Taming of the Jew, Taming of the Shrew, sorry, and the Merchant of Venice, and comparing, in particular, the characters Shylock and Catherine, who both are in a comedy, yet both suffer a tragic fate at the end. From our current modern perspectives, we see their fate as something not to be celebrated, but reading it within Shakespeare's context is something that seems to be sadly celebrated. So before we look into our scenes that we will be analyzing, Act 3, Scene 2, and Act 4, Scene 1, we're going to get some context of what we are approaching before we look at the scenes themselves. In Taming of the Shrew, we are approaching a wedding scene. Petruchio, who has been provoked and has been prodded to marry Catherine, is looking for wealth. He's looking for a means to acquire more wealth. That's his statement as he begins the story. And he essentially forces his way into a relationship with Catherine. When he meets her at first, they have banter back and forth, and Petruchio claims that he is attempting to, he has found her soft spot, but in reality, he's just he's bulldozing his way into a marriage with her. And so in the beginning of Act 3, Scene 2, we will find ourselves at their wedding, and that what happens at their wedding. Now, for the Merchant of Venice in Act 4, Scene 1, we see Antonio, who is has bargained with Shylock, a moneylender, and he has he owes him a certain, like, $3,000. I'll say dollars in this case. I'm wrong in saying that, but he owes him 3,000, and he must, if he is not able to repay him within the time, then Shylock and he had promised that Shylock would be able to take a pound of his flesh. And well, as we see coming up into Act 4, Scene 1, Antonio is unable to pay back the money to Shylock, and they are now both in court, and Shylock is fighting to get his flesh back. Now, that does not happen. Portia, who is in disguise, that's Bassiano's wife, she makes her case, saying that if a pound of his flesh was taken away, it would also include his blood, and this would be an alien taking blood away from a Jew. Now, why is Antonio not able to pay back? It's because his ships at sea are reported to be lost, and so that's how we find ourselves in this predicament to begin with. So our statement of comparison on Shylock and Catherine is that they both, who are lower tier members of Elizabethan society, have their possessions, identity, and voice seized and distorted due to their rebellious insistence on their own rights. Fighting for themselves and them trying to gain a voice and trying to assert themselves, they have all of that taken away by Petruchio and by, we could say, Portia and Antonio combined in a sense, and just by the court hearing. So looking first at Taming of the Shrew, we see that the wedding has arrived, and Petruchio shows up in this outfit that's ridiculous, and he shows in this outfit in an attempt to embarrass Katerina or Catherine, to show her that she is able to bow to his whim, even though he's not necessarily bowing to her whim. And it's a power play. Now, he does that power play at first, but then he forces the wedding to happen in a sense. And Katerina, she's unhappy about that, but still he forces the procession along. And then after the wedding, Katerina is at least asking, can we go to our dinner, our reception at the end? Can we have some food? I see a woman may be made a fool if she has not a spirit to resist. She's saying, like, I need to have my own voice. I need to have my own, like, in order to get what I want, I need to show or demonstrate that, like, I can fight for myself in order to get at least some form of possession, some form of something that can belong to me. And Petruchio goes on to say, like, but for my bonny Kate, she must be with me. Nay, look not big, nor stamp, nor stare, nor fret. And this is him taking away her only thing that she has at this wedding that she can enjoy. And we don't see it in this scene, but in later scenes, we see Petruchio doing worse things to her. He is taking away her clothing that he's taunting her with. He takes away her food, her sleep, her ability to even think for herself. Some of these are physical possessions, some of these are not. But yes, they this is what is taken away from her. And as for the Merchant of Venice, we see that because Shylock is an alien, and because he attempted to take the life of Antonio, the party against which he doth contrive shall seize one half his goods, the other half come to the privy coffer of the state. Shylock's goods have to be given over, one to the state, one to Antonio, one half, and that ends up not happening. They end up making a deal at the end, but essentially all of what Shylock has is no longer in subjection to him. He has his items taken away. Now, second, we focus on identity. We focus particularly on the fact that both these characters who are not in line with the Christian moral, the Christian ethic, are both forced to bow under the whim of the Elizabethan Protestant Christian standard for how they should both be acting. In Taming of the Shrew, we see that Katerina's identity, she's fighting for her own. She wants to go to this bridal dinner, but when Petruchio is fought back against, instead of him, listening to Katerina, instead of him, giving her dignity as a person to listen to her, he makes a statement that I will be a master of what is mine own. She is mine goods, my chattels. She is my house, my household stuff, my field, my barn, my horse, my ox, my ass, my anything. And here she stands, touch her whoever dare. And he's threatening those who are fighting against him, like, tell me what I can't do with what belongs to me. And he has possession over her. In the Merchant of Venice, we see Antonio is speaking, and after Portia and the Duke have basically given Shylock over to Antonio, saying, like, what do you say should happen with Shylock? He makes these statements on what should happen with the property, and then here he says he presently become a Christian, and his identity as a Jew, who he is now someone that is a Christian. So in both of these examples, we'll see later on in Taming of the Shrew, like both these characters who are acting out of sorts are then confined back into their place that they should be in the Christian world, being a good Christian. I think to a degree this is the most heinous, is voice. In the Taming of the Shrew, we see, I'll read this dialogue off. Let us entreat, you stay till after dinner, Petruchio. It may not be. Let me entreat you. It cannot be. Let me entreat you. That's Katerina speaking. That's important. I am content. Are you content to stay? I am content. You shall entreat me to stay, but yet not stay. Entreat me how you can. Now, if you love me, stay. And then Petruchio asks his friend Grumio for his horse. They're fighting over if they can stay at dinner or not. And Katerina is like, she's still crying, she's still pushing back, and Petruchio is like, no. He says, I am content, meaning like, I'm content that you can speak, but I'm not going to listen to you. Where he says, or Katerina is like, if you love me, you'll stay. And just not recognizing her at all, he asks for his horse so that he can leave and not go into the dinner. In the Merchant of Venice, I'll read this out. He shall do this, or else I do recant the pardon that I late pronounced here. And this is right after Antonio says, become a Christian. You need to have your possessions taken away, given to your daughter. And Portia's like, are you content, Jew? And Shylock, in submission, without fighting back, realizing his place as I am content. I pointed this out because I thought it was interesting that both of these had I am content within them. They are within different contexts, but they are both here to, they are both here to demonstrate that the voice is shut down. Though Petruchio was speaking, he's shutting down Katerina's voice. We're here, Shylock saying, I am content. His own voice is being shut down and he is acknowledging it for himself. Shylock and Catherine do not match in motivation, but they do match in class resentment. Shylock is a Jew. Catherine, she is a shrew. She is a woman who is not who's not fall under the standards that are deemed appropriate. And we see class resentment here. And both characters lash out because of their lack of control. They attempt to gain more control, but in the end, their power is subdued and they are punished for it. Both of them are fighting, they're scratching, they're clawing to be heard, to be seen, to be noticed. And both of them are punished at the end for it. So in conclusion, we see costumes in both of these stories. And though the costumes are used differently, Petruchio's costume is used to gain power, where Portia's use of costume is used to also gain a sense of power. She gains a sense of identity, but I did not see that as a central theme for looking at Shylock and Catherine. And they both lose their ability to fight, and they're both seen as villains in the beginning and are both put into place at the end to make this a comedy. So that's all I have to have here, or that's all I have to say here. I appreciate you watching. Thank you.